Saera and the Invisibles, and today is an opportunity for you to bring a question, bring a listening ear, bring receptivity to what wants to come through. What I wanted to first ask a question about is about the idea of rushing and the idea of if there's any kind of journeys that we can go through in exploring where does rushing come from? What are ways of creating pathways that we can feel like we are in alignment with proper time management without having to extend oneself outwards in this constant rush. But before that, I want to just set the intention that all that comes forth today is here to be of greatest service to this planet, to those participating on it, to this humanity, and that all beings that receive these transmissions know to believe it, receive it, leave it, or lend it. So using their own internal compass and discernment to trust in what's important and relevant at this point, at this cycle in your life. And you can always return to the recording. And I encourage, if you actually ask a question, put down the minutes. And if you want to go back to that minute that your answer was, you're welcome to do that. So just welcoming this beautiful golden light to hold the space of this council today. So hello everyone, we've got Allison, some other people. Welcome. So this is going to be exploring the theme of rushing, as I did to get here. What if, instead of rushing outwards, you were able to bring yourself inwards to find the presence, that feeling of being on point? There's a teaching that life revolves around how one holds their center point, that point of presence, that balancing plumb line that anchors consciousness into witness. It is in how you hold and harness the power that is that alignment, that is that centering, that is that internal presence. That life is then dictated to. That the responses around you are a result of life interacting with that core blueprint you're holding. And so if you're finding yourself in a place of rushing, in a place of seeking, bringing yourself somewhere in the future, launching your body somewhere in the future, launching your mind somewhere in the future, feeling the pressure to accomplish, we encourage you to remember, if at the end of the day, what you're seeking is a sense of feeling satisfied, of feeling that you have been on purpose, that you have aligned yourself with your divine right duty to this planet, then trusting that if you are finding yourself peeling yourself away from that calmness that creates magnetism, to explore that. That's not to say that being excited, that having inertia, having momentum, having passion isn't important. But when you feel like you are the fisherman's line continuously being flung out, seeking to grasp onto something, seeking to be found, if only to be reeled back to that center place. Perhaps think again on how you can situate and settle yourself in your throne of power. Thank you. All right, so we were exploring the idea of rushing, because I was in that place today. I had a dream last night where I was like 45 minutes late for everything. And because of the domino effect, I just missed every single appointment I had all day. And I woke up and I really felt that my capacity to, with proper time management and also proper settling and calmly allowing my nervous system to feel safe, a lot can happen in a day without the feeling of rushing. That rushing is a feeling that I experience when I'm flinging myself towards something and having to catch up to whatever I've aimed myself towards, instead of understanding that what's happening is there's a natural magnetism of my dreams, the natural magnetism of my desires, the natural magnetism of what I seek. And I am gracefully, magnetically moving myself with grace and ease in the direction of that. So, that being said, let's see. So for anyone that's new here, this is an opportunity to ask a question for yourself, humanity, or the planet, or simply receive the transmissions as they come. And you can put them on the thread. I generally don't get to private messages these days because it can be tricky navigating through the pages. So the first question is from Allison. And Allison says, "Hi, I'd like to know if I should be warned about anything at this time. Thank you." Yeah, let's see. So the first thing that I saw was something connected to your solar plexus. And I almost wonder if this has come up before, but it's like I saw your solar plexus, like there's, this strength in your solar plexus, but then I saw almost this. So solar plexus to me symbolizes willpower and personal direction. And so I saw this, and it's this bright yellow light is one way of seeing it. And so I saw kind of your solar plex center. I'm in a very yellow day today. I saw your solar plex center, and then I saw kind of this almost gray, kind of a dull light going over it, but I'm not sure if it represents that there's something that's clouding your sense of personal direction a little bit, or if it can go two directions. So something might be clouding it or not giving you the full sense, your full self-esteem of forward motion, or there might be some unclearness about your direction. Or it could be perhaps there's another person's will is affecting your sense of your own direction and purpose, because this can happen. And this is something that I've, being trained into another's will, but this idea that I've experienced too is when my presence, is appreciated or wanted or desired in someone's life. And especially if I have a really powerful connection with that person, what can happen is that especially if there's an energetic cord, or if there's some sort of, deeper layer of intimacy, that person's will, that person's desire upon where you wish to go in your life and your own direction can kind of not contradict, but can kind of persuade or influence your path, right? I mean, it kind of makes sense, especially if you're close, that other people's directions can kind of sway your own. But just to explore, it didn't seem I'm not getting a really intense warning sign, but more that there's something that needs to be explored in your personal direction. I feel like I should, take one of these sunflowers and just give you some and so in that, so one thing that you can do is that I've learned this. They've called it sweeping. That's a bit of a pranic healing or like a Reiki way of, if there is something. So if the solar plexus is just say radiating, I'm kind of on my side here. So if the solar plexus is radiating, here we go, about just say from here, that's kind of what I'm seeing for you. That you can kind of, if you have a crystal or have something that you want to, or even a feather, or in some smudge, just kind of moving it down over the excess and seeing if you can discharge and kind of neutralize any of whatever that gray kind of cloudiness I was seeing. And if it is connected to someone, just setting the intention that you'll be able to understand. Maybe you already have an idea, but as you're clearing it, as you're moving the energy away, as you're kind of like giving it some maintenance, if it's connected to somebody, because somebody else's influence, that maybe you'll think of them. And so just trusting, as and this was with any healing work, that as you're exploring the actions of doing the healing work, that whatever surfaces, even if it might just be like a flickering thought, can be connected to what's being released, or can be some form of guidance around, or a clue around what's occurring there. So that's a little bit for you, my dear. Mm-hmm. And so, moving on, we've got Leah or Lee Rochelle. Are you still here, my dear? And so Leah says, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I would love a reading, a general reading. You're welcome, Allison. And so for anyone else popping on, feel free to put your questions for yourself, humanity, or the planet on this thread, or just listen. And I believe that there's, many of us share similar stories. And when these transmissions come through, they're supporting a greater, oh, there you are, honey. Perfect. It's a bit of a lag between when people respond. So my apologies. So this is for you, honey. It's interesting. The first thing I was seeing was like, I was seeing your nasal passages, and I was actually like, I don't even know if this is a thing. I was seeing like this like saline or some sort of like solution. I think I was seeing this like little bottle in my mind. I feel like I've seen this somewhere called like Neil, maybe. Maybe I should. I'll look into that more if I can remember. But it felt like there was something around like, I don't know, your nasal passages needing to be like cleared, or maybe I'm not sure if you have any sinuses, but I was just seeing that. And sometimes it's nice just to do maintenance, just clearing your nasal passages. But anything else, let's see. You're doing what you need to survive, to succeed in some ways. But something that we're noticing is that connected to your arteries, connected to the blood that's pumping through your body, this sense of purpose that's feeding you wants to be renegotiated on what's depleting you as well. What can happen is that when you devote yourself to something in life, even if it's just a dream that's beneath the surface of everything you do, you're investing your divine intelligence, that thermometer that tests the water of your life, to see if it's ready, if it's prepared. And for you, in this testing, in this seeking this preparation, We want you to explore and adjust. How are you approaching those in your life that are related to what you seek? Are you approaching them as allies? Are you approaching them as removers of obstacles in some way? Or is there a distance? And why we bring this up is that if you're seeking something in life, learning or being near those that are holding that similar vision is very important. But it can be hard, say with those that seek to have a child, but are having difficulties. To be near those children, to be near those pregnant women can be challenging, right? But at the same time, it can build that relationship with that archetype, with that story, with being able to see yourself in some way, see the tangibleness of this offering. And so for you, why we're saying that is that there's something that wants you to possibly, oh, they're kind of popping out. So it's interesting. I'm getting like super sleepy doing your reading for you. I wonder if you just need to have a good nap and get some dreams on this. But yeah, to explore if there's something that you're seeking or desiring or dreaming that's been, but like they're saying, it's been under the surface for maybe a while, something that I don't know if you return to, or maybe you know what I'm talking about if you have any ideas, but exploring the deeper part of yourself in relation to how are you creating more space for that in your life by connecting with people that are really working on that are really holding those seeds for what you seek. Because that natural magnetic nature that happens when you're near people that are, living their life in a certain way, or, if you're seeking to be in a healthy relationship, find people in your life, find mentors, find people that inspire you, that you feel like are in healthy relationships, and kind of working with that and building your friendship networks, or at least how you're investing your time in relation to what you're seeking. That makes sense. And it starts building that momentum in one's life. So I hope that's helpful, my dear. Oh, Leah Rochelle's here. And I didn't even see your question. You had earlier just said a general reading. So that was your general reading. So moving on. We've got Ona. So Ona, you know what I'm going to do, because I'm aware that this next person that's after you, I know her dearly, and she's a mother of a new baby, and I know she has to go pick up her daughter really soon because her daughter's in my school. So I'm going to do her first, and then I will get to you, Ona. Okay. So this is from Paula. And Paula is saying, wondering about Fennec. Do the Invisibles see any clearings needed for Fennec related to what happened or in general? Okay. There's something we call casual labor in the heart. When you think of casual labor, it may not be the same association as something that is casual and relaxing, like casual day at the office. Casual labor can be just this daily maintenance, daily work, daily putting your energy towards something that isn't necessarily supporting this greater cause. And so what we're seeing is casual labor of the heart. It means that there's something that little Fennec is needing to work on and digest in a way that it's potentially preventing them from having that deeper reset into this body that's required. And so something that you could explore with Fennec is to just do exercises that welcomes, when you already have that, welcomes the tendrils of Fennec's last life into, and asking Creator, asking whoever your guides, your angels, whoever you seek to pray towards, to assist in gently coaxing the parts of Fennec that are still lingering from the threads of the past into the body of the present. And why we say that is that what we're seeing is that there's still a sense of belonging to a story, to a pattern that is contradicting the story and the pattern that their body is here now in. This can take some time, but ways of supporting that, especially with Fennec, is even we're exploring. Oh, they're kind of popping out. They're saying like also like 11th century. I don't even know, or maybe what the clues in that. But yeah, it's like I'm just seeing this, like continuously reminding this little one where their body is, and even like communicating with them about time. So something that you could do is you could say to them, give them like a really clear definition of like, okay, here, describe where you're at on the planet, in words. So here we are, I know where you live on Salt Spring Island it's this month, it's this day, it's this year. And just articulating to them the life that's here for them. And also welcoming, like, it feels like there's some sort of way of honoring that these tendrils are still, like, when they talk about this casual labor, the feeling I had was that it was like just something that's still wearing on Fennec's heart about something that happened, that maybe there was some guilt around it. Maybe there was like a feeling of there hasn't been closure around something, but just allowing them to know that also in this life, as much as you can let those tendrils of the past, go where they need to go and reclaim that soul fragment or those soul essences, just letting them know too that, she can unwrap and she can explore these issues or these experiences throughout life, like even when they get older, when there's more time to give that presence, and that right now is a time for just like landing into this life, right? And being able to enjoy the presence of this body growing, enjoy the presence of the mother and the family, and that it's safe to be in that presence, and then to know that if there needs to be more work done, or there needs to be grieving, or there needs to be that can come in its own time. And if now is the right time, but it feels like right now, just assuring Fennec that now it's safe to just situate in this life and really give the space for this bond with the body to happen. So that's a little bit. So for everyone, Fennec is a very teeny little baby. All right, love you. So moving on, we're going to go back to Ona. Thanks, Ona, for understanding. So Ona says, would love to know what self-care practices are most resonant for me at this time for maintenance, healing, well-being. Thank you. All right. Aw, you're so welcome. So Ona, let's see. Like the first image I saw, to be quite honest, was I just saw you like hanging. It was specifically your right side. Like I saw like your right side, like almost you hanging. I don't know if it's like it sounds a little dense, but like shaking or like really letting that, like it feels like this, your whole chest could kind of really, I don't know if there's a pop in it, but kind of open. And then on top of the hanging, I was seeing like actually like climbing trees like this and playing and doing like tree, like something I've explored before. I call it like tree dancing or tree yoga, where you can get into trees and kind of use their, use their branches. You can lock your feet along the branches. You can get really good stretches. You can lean against them. You can kind of use the knobs to, yeah, to crack parts in your back. But that I'm kind of seeing what could be playful for you is like kind of bringing in nature to your practice. um, and I don't know if you have any like fun trees you could climb already, but that could be, it also could be something that's really fun to do with other people, where you could have like, hey, let's go on like a tree yoga exploration, where you get a few friends to go find a tree and maybe, and just like climb it, and make sure that you keep each other, active, that you're not just getting into just talking, or if you're talking, or if you're singing and you want to sing through the trees. But I'm just seeing you like letting trees be a support for you, and that it could be really fun too. Or even, ways of integrating that. 'Cause I don't know what your tree life is. I live on an island with trees everywhere. um, but just finding ways of using or utilizing, even if it's just like a little tree, like when you're walking down the street, like it just feels like there's something about using, like connecting with something that's living, that's not just a human, to support you in your connection with this planet, and that's your connection with your body. So that's a little bit of what I was seeing is tree medicine. And one way of doing it too is, that you do turn it into like this prayerful practice, is that before you climb a tree, you just connect with the tree. So you can, put your hand on them. I like to put my head on them, and just state your intention. And if you want to share, like, I'm here, I want to just, I'm intending to explore my connection with nature, my connection with my body, my connection with you, and just asking permission to climb you and play with you. And then when you kind of feel that opening, then you can, or you can set that intention and say it to a forest. So just say you go to a forest, you can say, here I am, I'm seeking, which tree here would be most beneficial for me to explore with. Because each tree, so in the Celtic and the Gaelic long ago traditions, the trees in themselves all have very magical properties and spiritual properties. And so each tree brings its own medicine, just like each stone has its own attributes and ways that it works with humanity. So does the trees. And so knowing that you can kind of play with it, if like which tree wants to work with you today, and exploring with that. Or you could even have a tree that you start creating a relationship, and maybe you take some of its leaves or some of its sap and start, making tea with its sap, and creating this relationship on many layers with this tree friend. Feels like it could be really special. And I don't know if that's possible where you live, but I just see that. That's what I see. And definitely whatever this opening up this side, really letting your right side kind of like shake out and relax and dangle. Mm-hmm. All right, for you. So moving on, I want to thank everyone for popping on, whether you're here in the present or you're here in the future watching this. And so this is an opportunity to ask a question for yourself, humanity, or the planet. And the Invisibles are spirit mentors that I've been working with since a young girl. And together we kind of do little soul consultations. So the next question we have is from Katie. Katie Cooper. You're welcome, Mona. Katie Cooper Lawrence, my dear, are you here still? And Katie's question says, hello there. I would appreciate whatever comes through, please. Katie, my dear, are you here? There you are. Perfect. Okay. That's interesting. The first thing I heard was like the Dogon Lights, which is actually a musical group called the Dogon Lights. But I believe, but then I was kind of hearing like Dogon, and the Dogon people, I believe, this is something this was not on the record, but I feel like they're connected with like Sirius, maybe. They're connected with some sort of star, or star constellation, or acknowledge their connection with these star beings. And I feel like maybe there's something for you in maybe doing a little bit of study or exploring the Dogon people. I'm gonna take a peek for a second. I spelled Dogon mythology Dogon. So they're from Mali. Wow. Sorry, now I'm I'm not going to look at this right now. Like, Dogons! Really fascinating beings. And their stories, their ancestral stories. So in exploring that, I was just at this weekend, Cook's Island, getting into, what are my roots? What is my um, inherent, indigenous ancestry? What does that mean to me? How am I investing my presence and time and learning and studying and deepening into the teachings of my ancestry? But I also want to express that, we have our soul also has its own ancestry. And the more I realize that in itself is also important, is understanding, well, where is my body from? How do I honor my body? How do I honor the lineages that have brought me here and that are in my blood and my bones? And then how do I honor where my soul's ancestry, where my soul has passed through? And one way that I've explored that is that there's definitely different cultures that I feel, perhaps it's just that the language is very similar, but that there is a feeling of belonging or understanding or knowing or remembering of ways. And so in this Dogon, exploring the Dogon, I don't know if maybe there's some sort of soul connection to that, but maybe there's something in deepening into the stories, deepening into some perspectives there for you. Is there anything else I can, I will look into them. I've never heard of them. Oh, yeah. It's interesting. So the word that they're saying, I was hearing like, bear with me for a moment. I was hearing the word Lucifer, which means kind of the devil, but who's also a fallen angel. But more in the way that I was seeing that it feels like there's some sort of, if you're going to explore any stories, like some sort of story about like the great balance before us in life, like something about, it doesn't feel like understanding that duality doesn't necessarily exist as much in some of the teachings that I feel like you're ready to explore is, well, if life is not life is not a duality, and life has these many, many spectrums of experiences and connections and vibrations and that turn into experiences and connections, then then where are you now in your life in relation to the balance that you seek? And how can your own belief patterns support you creating that sense of a greater balance and purpose by dissuading patterns that, you're just talking about this. Yeah, like, because like the image I'm seeing is that in your life, if with one, in my experience, once I stopped seeing life as duality, as like that, good and bad, or that's not a spectrum that I fully understand anymore in the same way. That there is this myriad of complex trajectories, and each different facet is in relation to the same experience. And so for you, it feels like there's possibly maybe some like heavy, like things that might seem more heavier or more taboo subjects that could be explored in a way that helps you find part of yourself, or that helps bring upon a sense of balance and restoration into your life by having and returning and allowing and reclaiming these perspectives or these feelings or these truths in yourself, or these explorations in yourself, and just knowing that you can go there and you can be loved for your process as well. So I just want to honor you and your path and your beautiful uniqueness that is you, and wherever you are in your myriad of places you could be with your consciousness. And so, unless somebody else asks a question, I am going to close for today. And tonight while I'm waiting, I show you this beautiful, this is this Ashanti fertility goddess, and it almost feels weird showing her online actually. Oops, sorry. Sorry, my dear. So today I'm excited to go support Mama to be with the Blessing Way. And so for anyone that's not aware, Blessing Way is more of like a ritualized baby shower. So it's less about chatting and stuff and more about honoring the mother and creating a place of nourishing and nurturing for the mother, and listening and supporting, what needs to be shared by the mother, and creating a sense of solidarity in this process of birthing. Because, the process of birthing for many people has been turned into an isolated experience. And as much as it's clearly, oh, Katie says, you just validated the realization I came up in the past weekend. Yeah. But yeah, just understanding that birthing, even though the process of birthing is a very singular experience because that mama is sure going to do it herself, that having solidarity, having the presence, having the prayers, having the sense of being able to relax into community, relax into having meal trains set up for you, that actually eases the birth experience up and creates that spaciousness, or can support that spaciousness and that opening that's needed to have one of those beautiful, expansive births. So since I'm not seeing any questions coming up, I just want to honor you all for popping on today and sending my blessings from here and out here in BC as the storms just passed by the last few days, and hoping you're all having a authentic experience wherever you are. So I'll see you next week. Aloha.